All right, we're going to continue on here. Educational series for long-term care planning and insurance. We're jumping right into section 3 where we discuss really what options you have. At this point, you understand what long-term care is, the risks that are involved. You probably just want to know what options you have for you and your family. Well, it's pretty simple. In fact, you have the same 4 options that everybody else has. Option number 1 is you can use your own personal savings and your own assets. Option number 2 is in lieu of money. Okay, you can use family or friends. Option number 3 is Medicaid, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And option number 4 is some form of insurance. That's where you can transfer the risk to somebody or something else. So let's just talk about option number 1. Now, each person has different amount of savings, different home values, or different retirement savings, 401ks or IRAs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, money markets, annuities, and so on. Your situation financially is different than the Joneses, okay, or the Smiths. Now, what's not different are these same 4 risks that we all face. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down some numbers here. And what you see, these numbers actually represent the statistical probability, the likelihood, okay, that you're going to lose $100,000 or more of your assets. So these are 4 separate risks. So for example, on the one on the left says that you have a 1 in 3,000 chance of losing $100,000 or more due to this risk. Okay, and I'm going to give you the names of these risks, but right now they don't have names here. Then you have a 1 in 240 chance of losing $100,000 or more, and then you have a 1 in 2 chance all the way down at the bottom. So if I were to ask you the question, which of these risks would you protect or insure first if you knew that these were the likelihoods that you were going to lose $100,000 or more? Now, most people would say the 1 in 2 risk because it's most likely to happen, and that's the right answer. So let's put names next to these things and see how you're doing so far in your own financial plan when it comes to protection. If you own a home, you by law have to have fire protection or homeowners insurance. So, did you know that only 1 in 3,000 homes incur damage in excess of $100,000? But you have that risk walled off with some form of insurance. Now, did you know that only 1 in 240 automobile accidents actually result in damage and or liability in excess of $100,000? And yet again, we're mandated by law to have that insurance in place so that we don't unintentionally invade our savings or our assets to pay for those risks. Now, 1 in 50 people will have something happen to their health that will require a surgery or a procedure or hospitalization, yet most people have some form of health protection or insurance or Medicare in place to cover that risk. And did you know that 1 in 2 people statistically will require long-term care before they die? Now, what happens to a lot of families is that everything just falls right through the cracks. And so what we propose is, why not keep it all intact, wall off this risk the same way as you've walled off every other major risk that you face, and that way you have a total safety net around your financial future for you and your family. It can be very expensive to pay for long-term care, as you saw on the previous slide. Now, interestingly to note again is that half of the people almost who need long-term care are actually between the ages of 18 and 64. So this is obviously not just for old people. Now, option number 2 is you can use family and friends. This happens to be a picture of my family with my nieces and nephews and my parents and my sisters and brother-in-law and so on. But just keep in mind that long-term care planning and long-term care insurance is never designed to replace family from doing what they may want to do to help out. But long-term care insurance or long-term care planning is designed to provide an infrastructure of support to allow those people to be able to provide care for us longer, better, and healthier. That's really what the purpose of planning is. Now, when it comes to family and friends, we know that people are living further apart, smaller families, and people living further distances from each other. My one sister lives out in Boston. We have another one in New Jersey. My mom's family has somebody in California and Maryland, and so on and so forth. There's a lot more women in the workforce today. Most of us are inadequate in terms of our experience in providing care, from a professional perspective. It places a lot of physical and emotional demands on people's lives, and there's really a lot of personal dignity issues that are involved with having a child become a caregiver when it comes to some of the the activities of daily living, the bathing and the eating and getting dressed and the toileting and continence and so on and so forth. So again, long-term care is never designed to replace family from doing what they may want to do, but it is designed to provide an infrastructure of support to help them do it longer and better. So a lot of people I talk to, however, they're looking to not be a burden to somebody in their family. They're just looking to have a general infrastructure of support, as I talked about. Now, option number 3 is Medicaid. And if you underline the last 3 letters of the word Medicaid, it spells AID, which stands for All Investments Depleted. And it's actually a joint federal and state program that's designed to pay healthcare costs for people who are on welfare. However, you do have to spend down your assets to a level that's considered indigent. And Medicaid really, in most places, only pays for care in a nursing home. So if your desire is home care and not spending all your assets down to a level of impoverishment, then Medicaid may not be the best option for you. But you can imagine how many people end up on Medicaid because of a lack of planning, and all of a sudden at $100,000 per year of privately paying for care, it doesn't take too long before the average person ends up in a Medicaid situation. And then the last one is really transferring the risk, okay, with some form of insurance. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but it really guarantees you access to quality care. You can avoid indigence on Medicaid or what it takes to qualify to be on Medicaid. You can maintain your independence and protect all your assets. You can relieve any of the burden of your loved ones, family, friends, spouse, children, and so on. You can also ensure a choice of care, who provides it, where you get it, when they receive it. And you can also help protect your spouse's and your family's quality of life by having a plan in place for yourself. Now, over the years, when I first started, long-term care insurance was really the only solution that existed. And now there are multiple options to consider, whether it's life insurance with long-term care riders, or they have annuities with long-term care benefits. Sometimes people are in a situation where a reverse mortgage might make the most sense, and they also have what's referred to as indexed annuities with long-term care. So the options today are more so than they were years ago. I'm going to talk in a couple slides specifically about long-term care insurance because the other products down below here more or less revolve around the core basics that long-term care insurance provides. So once you understand long-term care insurance and how that works, the other options start to make more sense as well. So we've gone through understanding longevity. We've helped you understand what long-term care is specifically. We talked about what your options are. The last two we're going to get into is really helping to show you how to customize a plan and also to give you an idea of some of the sample costs. So hope this has been helpful so far, and we'll see you on section 4.